Day one already tripping on
man.
my feet, but game number 3 here, Siege of Central New York here in Roma Luna.
Man, you said day 3, and I was like, where have I been the last 2 days of what is only a 2-day tournament? My goodness.
It's a whole lot of derby for me.
All right. So game 3 is going to be Appalachian Roller Derby taking on Providence Roller Derby. Appalachian from Boone, North Carolina. I'm going to give a quick rundown of that roster. We've got number 01, Public Enemy. Number 030, Gypsy, who's the captain. 0333, Egregious. 1101, Nerd Fighter. Number 15, Autoconda. Number 22, Tutu LaRue. 23, Foxy Thunderclap. 31, Bricks Hit House. 35, Bam Bam Becca. 426, Honey Boom Boom. Number 5, Coco Janelle. And number 63, Snatch and Bent. 711, Patty Young Thing. Number 917, Suit Yourself. Coached today by Coach Duke A. and Sinbad.
And they'll be taking on rank number 99 from Providence, Rhode Island, the Rhode Island Riveters. They'll be seen in the white with red and blue trim. Starting off with 00, Puma Thurman. 013, Monsoon. 042, Flying King. Number 101, Huracan. Number 16, Boone's Arm. Number 17, Goldie. Number 1860, Oakley. Number 2468, Sis Boom Bonnie. Number 26, Shreddy Roosevelt. Number 31, Smashley Olsen. Number 321, Retro Rocket. Number 350, Susie Homewrecker. Number 40, Miller Lowlife. Number 917, La Biblioreca, with our coaches Hot Sauce, Alexi Lawless, and Raquel Welts.
All right, so we are just about 15 seconds to Derby here. And you're going to be pretty familiar with this Providence team, is that correct?
Well, yes. I've been born and raised in Providence. Been with them for about 7 years now.
It's incredible. I love having that familiarity on the call. Thank you.
Rhodes Scholar. That's our producer, Bobby Narco, next to me. He's going to be providing all the comedy throughout this entire game.
Puns until you're done. All right, so whistle has blown. We've got Monsoon for Providence taking the lead there. Patty Young Thing wearing the star for Appalachian. Oh, it looks like BYT actually has the lead. BYT coming into turn 1, being met with that braced tripod there from Providence. We've got Monsoon out on an initial for Providence. So it looks like we'll have our first call off here.
Yeah, great defensive start there by Appalachian. Again, locking down Monsoon, giving that open door to their jammer. Picking up 3 points there. And already, whistle being called, but just officials, just making sure all the information is correct. And getting that time clock back up on our big screen here.
So it looks like the next lineup is going to be number 23, Foxy Thunderclap for Appalachian in the black and yellow, going up against Flying King in the white for Providence.
Remember Siege last year when Providence came down. Flying King was one of like the big start jammers that when they faced Toronto locked in and pretty much created that brace wall and kept Flying King down.
Yep. Yeah, having the early games here in the morning, you don't get a lot of that, your later opponents kind of coming out to watch you because it's just too early. But now that we're in game 3, you're going to see more of like Antwerp here kind of like checking things out, scoping out the competition rather for the rest of the weekend.
So we're learning they did not actually start the period clock. That's why they had to correct.
Cool beans.
Well, it is very exciting. Of course, they want to get to the action.
Well, when this is the first roller derby tournament ever, I can understand that these things are going to happen. But, of course, roller derby is roller derby. All right, so Foxy there, taking it to the inside with the hard hit, rolled back to the jammer line. Flying King pushing forward. Providence out with lead. Foxy still trying to fight her way through. Completes an initial there out of turn 1. Pretty fast-moving pack there and spread out as well. We've got Appalachian up in front. Really focused now. Flying King coming in. Takes it to the outside of turn 3. Calls it off.
Yeah, it looked like they thought they got Flying King out of bounds or were trying to recycle back, but that just gave a wide open for Flying King to return back in here. As you can see, they thought it was a nice step out as they were moving off to the side. They had faced to the inside of that infield. Flying King just took that opening on the outer side of turn number 3.
All right. Next lineup, number 01, that's Public Enemy for Appalachian. Number 17, that is Goldie for Providence. Public Enemy almost out there on the inside of turn 1, gets recycled. Slow push forward into turn 2. And she'll break out, picking up lead for Appalachian. We've got Goldie, looks like still stuck there in turn 2. Scoring pass there from Appalachian coming out of turn 3. Monsoon with 1 to beat, does so. That will complete an initial pass, so held back for about 40 seconds there. Meanwhile, Public Enemy on a second scoring pass.
We're going to direction the gameplay call. That is going to go on Appalachian blocker.
All right, so both teams points on the board there. Appalachian, though, in the lead. Public Enemy taking a look back there as Monsoon approaches the pack in the front stretch. One more scoring pass under her belt. Public Enemy now has 12. Goldie out with 4 as well. I believe I referred to Goldie as Monsoon earlier, and I apologize. It is Goldie. Public Enemy getting the call from the bench to end that jam.
One thing we definitely saw on that jam was both teams and blockers occurring multiple penalties, starting to cycle in and out of the box there. It's one of those things that you don't want to have so early in a game, only a jam number 3 here at the beginning of our first half. They need to reel it back in and make sure they stay on top of staying out of the box.
All right, so it looks like we've got number 15, that is Autoconda, wearing the star for Appalachian in the black and yellow. Appalachian, it looks like their jammers are kind of taking off right from the whistle and pushing to the inside of the track. We've got, though, Monsoon in white for Providence picking up lead. This is just the second lead that Providence has picked up.
And with Monsoon capturing that is going to be alternating leads as in 4 jams. Each team is taking a shot, taking that lead jam.
Great job there by Appalachian's defense of just moving forward as a wall in an effort to just stay that much further ahead from Monsoon, but it looks like she'll call it off and pick up 2 points.
Yep, and that is the first jam that we did not actually have a lead change. I mean, a 16 to 14 on Appalachian, still very early in this.
Flying King with the star for Providence. And Pineapple Pants, that's number 711, PYT. Again, taking it to the inside for Appalachian. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. She's going to pick up lead. Flying King, though, now coming into turn 2, taking it around to the outside, looking to complete an initial pass. Staying on toe-stops there in the backstretch. So initial pass completed for Flying King. We've got PYT being pushed to the outside just as she reached turn 3 to call it off.
And the great defense by Appalachian. As you see, as they're going from turn 1 into turn 2, that defense was pretty much broken up pack where Flying King only had about 2 blockers, but how quick they were to recycle to the front of the pack and lock down Flying King.
And number 17, that is Goldie for Providence in white. And number 23, Foxy Thunderclap for Appalachian, again to the inside after the whistle. Almost recycled to the inside there, but stays inbounds, picks up lead once again for Appalachian. With a big hit there as Foxy with a thunderclap comes into turn 1.
How quick they were to get up there, Loda. Like, it was a
Yeah.
hard hit to inside. You could feel it in the floor here at the Kennedy Arena.
All right, that one to beat coming out of turn one. A Foxy Thunderclap with a 4-point pass. With a hop there, taking the inside line, what looked like on the backstretch.
But meanwhile, we got a direction of gameplay that's going to go on to the pivot for Appalachian. That is number 5, Coco Janelle.
We've got our first star pass there. That is going off to number 1860, Oakley. Foxy Thunderclap with 8 points on the board so far. Successful star pass off to Oakley for Providence. Oakley through, points on the board for Providence. Foxy does have lead jammer privilege for Appalachian. Almost getting knocked to the outside there of turn one. It looks like, yep, she got pushed into a cut track. She'll be sent to the penalty box. So Oakley out there in a power jam for Providence.
Yeah, if you watch that back there on turn number 1, it was like toes in, toes out, toes in, toes out, trying to keep balance, but that was a cut.
All right, so we've got Oakley approaching there in turn 2. Appalachian taking the front, waiting for Oakley, going to get knocked to the outside. And the legal contact there for one of the Appalachian blockers. Jam's going to come to the conclusion. So it looks like a total of 12 points on the board for Appalachian, bringing them to 32. Providence with 11, bringing them to 25.
Oakley, yeah, with a twist in there, illegal contact right there, sending Oakley out of bounds here at turn number 2. But great successful star pass, actually, resulting in multiple points. Rarely you see that happen. Usually it's a cutoff, but here we are with a power start here, Loda.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Monsoon wearing the star for Providence. Out there unopposed, but we do have Foxy Thunderclap out of the box. So lead jammer still up for grabs here. But we do have Foxy Thunderclap being recycled to turn 1 after being knocked out in turn 2. Monsoon with a hard fight on the brace tripod there in the backstretch. We've got everyone there in the backstretch right now, all the jammers, all the blockers, not a lot of movement. It's a slow push into turn 3, but then we've got Monsoon finding an opening, picking up lead. Again, 40 seconds into the jam before lead was achieved. Pack is basically where Monsoon left them. They're in turn 3. Foxy out, taking the inside of turn 4. That completes an initial. All right, so what a jam there.
You got to give it up for actually Appalachian's tripod they had with egregious in the anchor point. How fluid, but how quick and nimble they were, creating that big lockdown. But again, the defense now kicking back up for both these teams there. We saw even Puma Thurman come in with a hit to break up that pack.
All right, so just 2 points after that jam. Providence at 27, Appalachian 32, 20 minutes left to go in the first half. 0-1 Public Enemy wearing the star once again for Appalachian, but out in front, that is 0-4-2, a Flying King for Providence. Public Enemy going to be recycled into the middle of the front stretch. Flying King on a scoring pass, 4 points.
And that way already Providence losing 2 to the box for a multiplayer block and an illegal contact.
Appalachian trying to take Flying King out there on the outside of turn 3, unsuccessful. 4 additional points for Providence. So it looks like we've got Providence now, took the lead for just a hot second, but then that 4-point pass from Public Enemy keeps them on top. Flying King escaping the pack there in turn 1, an additional 4 points. Public Enemy being knocked out of bounds in turn 1, recycled to the jam line. We've had a couple of lead changes here just within this jam.
Yeah, that's the 4th jam they've actually had with both teams put points on the board collectively.
So we're coming into, I was going to say just about the last 30 seconds of this jam, but Flying King's going to call it off. Wait to see how those points shake out, because again, we did have a number of lead changes just within that jam. We have Flying King taking that quick hop. Actually, really both jammers seeing that that corner there, taking a hop.
But also great track awareness, though, knowing that Flying King stepped inbounds and quickly recycling back behind the pack, avoiding that track cut.
All right, so a big 15-point jam from Flying King. That's going to bring Providence to 42. The 12 points from Appalachian. Oh, you know, so many lead changes. I can't keep track of it. Oh, my goodness. These numbers just change. It's like looking at my bank account on like a Saturday night. It's good. It's not good. It's good. It's not good.
Yeah, I believe we're up to actually number 4 on those lead changes, but now we're getting a direction of gameplay call.
We've got Anaconda out in front with lead jammer privilege for Appalachian. With Goldie out of the pack for Providence. Anaconda's going to get knocked to the inside of turn 2 and recycled into 1. While Goldie takes it around the outside of turn 2, skates in on toes. 4 points for Providence. And again, really the same move almost there for Goldie. In the meantime, we've got, let's see, Anaconda being sent to the penalty box for a cut track and her pivot as well. So definite pack advantage here for Goldie and Providence. With 8 points on the board right now, Goldie has brought Providence to 50. 3 blockers on the track for Appalachian. Goldie getting a little of offensive help, takes to the outside of turn 1. 2 now to beat there in turn 2, takes to the outside, picks up an additional 4. So this jam, a lot of trouble by Appalachian keeping their skaters out on the track. We had a jammer penalty and then back-to-back blocker penalties. But Anaconda is out, putting points on the board. Goldie with 16 points on the board so far for Providence. Both jammers coming into turn 3. Goldie's going to take it backwards into turn 4, picking up 3 additional points. So it looks like that is a 19-point jam.
Yeah, the 19-point jam. We're watching the great footwork we've seen by Goldie on 2 different occasions. This one, watch this turn inwards, skates backwards right through turn number 3.
And that's it. That happened twice in that same exact location. So Appalachian set up for her the second time, but Goldie knew exactly what was coming for her. 0-1-3 in white, Monsoon for Providence. And then it's number 7-11, PYT, being knocked to the inside for Appalachian. Monsoon out with lead jammer privilege. And while she's coming around for a scoring pass, we've got PYT recycled into turn 4 by a great hit. Monsoon through for 4. PYT out on an initial. Monsoon taking the outside of turn 1, but it's going to be PYT putting points on the board, taking it to the inside.
And if you're joining us here on Twitch TV, thank you very much. And also, you can join us here on the chat. Already some shout-outs going out to Providence Roller Derby on behalf of Jet Von Diesel and Hello Kitty.
Yeah, this has been great to be able to have this quality of feed here at the Siege. We've been doing broadcasts for so long, you know, in large part because of our Wi-Fi abilities here, but it's great to have Nerd Derby here, giving us really good quality broadcasts. Thank you.
They are the heroes of the day.
All right, Flying King, we're in the star for Providence. Foxy Thunderclap for Appalachian. That'll be Flying King out in front with lead jammer privilege. Foxy, though, just about a quarter of a track behind them. We see that brace 3 wall always up front, waiting for that Providence jammer. They did a great job, though, of pushing Flying King out of bounds just as they were coming around the corner there of turn 3.
And see here, King already going 3 for 4 for lead jams. Doing almost the same kind of technique that Goldie has, coming into turn number 3 and turning inwards.
All right, 0-1, no stranger to the jam line there for Appalachian, and that is Public Enemy. Number 17, that is Goldie for Providence. Both jammers kind of evening up there in turn 2. A lot of slow moving pack action there. Heavy grind, not much forward momentum from anyone, just like that slow push, but really as a pack. So we've got Appalachian out, Public Enemy lead jammer. Goldie's gonna get pushed to the outside there by Suit Yourself. Public Enemy through on a scoring pass. A full 4 points. Appalachian getting the call from the bench to just move that pack along, it seems like. Goldie coming around on that turn 3, again with a turn inside. This time to the inside there, Goldie's gonna pick up 4 points. Public Enemy getting the word to just keep moving there on the track. 8 points on the board so far for her this jam. Everyone's coming up here in turn 1. Goldie really not able to complete this scoring pass. It's been a hard fight for her. We also have Public Enemy, knocked out of bounds in turn 1, pulled back by Mila Lowlife. And again, Public Enemy just kind of calling it off. A last 4 points, that'll be a total of, I believe that's gonna be a 12-point jam for Public Enemy, but 8 points on the board for Goldie.
And you got to look at the last 10 seconds of that jam, how it's different versus the rest of it. There were so many blocker penalties in both teams. We started seeing a very thin pack, so they just jammed both until both teams just kept going and going and going. But the last 10 seconds when the packs were together, they got the lockdown on the jam. It's great tripod setups.
All right, Autoconda number 15 for Appalachian. Takes the inside of turn 1 for lead. Monsoon wearing the star for Providence. Monsoon looking for an opening on the outside of turn 3. Takes it and completes an initial. Autoconda getting knocked to the inside of turn 3. Calls it off after putting 3 points on the board.
Again, another forearm call that we saw on one of the blockers for Appalachian. Again, you got to be a little bit more mindful with these penalties coming up. But again, once we get to the halftime, we'll take a quick look on it and see how it's actually affecting the game right now, where Appalachian came out very strong at the beginning of this game. A lot of those penalty situations given the opportunity, especially those power jams for Providence, to spread that lead a little further.
All right, PYT for Appalachian taking on Flying King. Flying King now taking it to the inside. Quick work of the pack. They're going to pick up lead. PYT unable to find access to complete an initial. The same path she tried to take in order to break out. Didn't work for her, but worked for Flying King with a hop. That's going to equal 4 points. Flying King this time around on the inside. Toe stop stand inbounds, another 4 points. Flying King being knocked to the outside of turn 3. Looking at the bench, deciding whether or not to call it off. Comes back inbounds, calls it. So it looks like just 4 points on the board for Appalachian. They are stuck at 69. 11 points total for Flying King. Providence is at 92.
Flying King with the great footwork favored the inside from the very beginning of the jam. Watch the tiptoes staying on the inside line there. And a little bit of a jump, just a little extra boost to get around that pack.
Number 23, Foxy Thunderclap, and 013 Monsoon for Providence. It looks like Foxy Thunderclap is just going to kind of like tumble her way through the pack, gets back up on her feet, and picks up lead. Kind of get the impression that lead is pretty consistently it's like evenly matched between the two teams, like no big streaks, but
yep, before this jam there were 7-7 coming into this. But we're getting a back block call. That is going to be a Monsoon. We're going to finally have Power Jam now going to Appalachian. Huge opportunity to come back here, Loda.
Yeah, absolutely. And Foxy Thunderclap already has picked up lead jammer privilege for the team. So now it's just a matter of smart, are they going to run this out? Are they going to call it off before Monsoon's going to get out? And there we go. Foxy Thunderclap picking up 4 points and calling it off.
Playing it smart now with the time on the clock remaining. They have a chance to get another lead jam with this power start. And already down another blocker as well as Puma went to the box for a cutting of the track. I want to thank you all once again for joining us here at Seizure Central New York WFTDA Recognized Tournament. Got a lot of other great action going on, including one of my favorites, Coastal Chaos, coming up April 26th through the 28th at Rock Point, Maine.
That'll be right here on this channel, too.
I'll be right here on Nerd Derby.
Nerd Derby is my friend. All right, Public Enemy wearing the star for Appalachian. A solid just wall of white, just two skaters holding her back. Now just one to beat. Oakley unable to contain Public Enemy. She'll come out picking up lead jammer privilege. We've got Monsoon out of the penalty box and completing an initial pass. But we've got Appalachian still with pack advantage. Public Enemy coming out of the pack, calling it off and putting 4 points on the board.
And a fish review being called by Providence. And what a gain right now, 92 for Providence, 77 for Appalachian. 6 minutes, 31 seconds remain in our first half. Once again, thank you for joining us here on twitch.tv/Nerd Derby. Nerd Derby doing a fantastic job bringing us all the live action all weekend long. And you'll be seeing at many of the other tournaments that I mentioned, including Coastal Chaos that we had mentioned earlier. So definitely stick around. Check out Nerd Derby also on Facebook as well to see all the upcoming bouts that they'll be streaming.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed that Nerd Derby was able to come to Rome, New York, in a place that just seems like I could never get good service. And here you are again. Can't thank you enough for making the trip and for making this work.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Such a beautiful, beautiful man, too.
And it's funny because I'll just tell you, when my mom heard that Nerd Derby was going to be here, she got so excited because she's like, oh, if I have to miss it because I have to work or something like that, I know that I can watch it and actually see what's happening. So yeah, Mama Sarcasm approved.
Wow, that's awesome.
Put that on your resume. She'll be your reference.
Is she on Twitter?
No.
So that official review is actually just a burn-in timeout for Providence. That way they can retain their other 3 timeouts and restart with a new official review next.
All right, so this time around we've got Goldie for Providence taking on Autoconda. It's Autoconda out in front with lead for Appalachian. Big stagnant pool of skaters there in turn 1, but we've got Autoconda coming in and really breaking things up, making her way through out of turn 2 for a 4-point scoring pass.
Yeah, it's the first time that any team has had 3 lead jams in a row. And even previously, the previous 2 jams, first time a team went scoreless twice in a row, and that was Providence.
All right, so it looks like we've got a star pass, and that went from Goldie to Mila Lowlife. Autoconda, though, aware of it. The bench is aware of it. She's going to go ahead and call it off after putting 4 points on the board. Oh, 3 points. Well, 3 points that pass for the first, for a total of 7. Appalachian 84, Providence 0 on that last jam, 92 points.
Oh, no, I'm terrible at math, so I'm
gonna
glad I have you.
I'm just going to say numbers.
We might get lucky on any one of them.
All right, Flying King with the star for Providence, and that is PYT for Appalachian. Providence losing a blocker to a multiplayer block pretty much right after the whistle. PYT being recycled to the inside right there in turn 1. Taken to the outside this time around, real close there to the edge, and stays inbounds. She'll pick up lead. We've got Flying King completing an initial as well, about a quarter of a track separating the two jammers. PYT taking it to the outside of turn 2, calls it off. So it looks like nothing on the board there for Providence. So held scoreless for at least a second jam there.
That's going to be 4 in a row for them. And also in comparison, you're looking at the last about 7 jams, and it looks about 6 of them held by Appalachian. So the tide is turning, and you can see it reflected in the score as well.
Monsoon in white for Providence, number 23 in black. That is Foxy Thunderclap. Foxy getting a little bit of offensive assistance, and it looks like that worked. Able to take it to the outside of turn 2 to pick up lead once again for Appalachian. Monsoon unable to make much progress there out of the pack. Almost had a break as she came around the outside of turn 3, but makes it out there. Turn 4 just after about 30 seconds rather have elapsed. Both jammers getting stuck there in the pack, but it looks like it's going to be Monsoon coming out first. 4 points on the board for Providence. And Foxy Thunderclap being sent to the penalty box for a cut. So power jam Monsoon. Monsoon already with 4 points on the board. It was only about 4 points, I think, separating the two teams as they came into this jam here in particular. So what a time for Providence to have a power jam kind of handed to them.
Yeah, correct. But again, the great defense by Appalachian forcing Monsoon to the outside recycling pack, wearing down that penalty clock only until Foxy gets back into this game.
Okay, we've got about 2.5 minutes left to go on the period clock. 30 seconds left to go in the jam. And I believe Foxy had picked up lead earlier, so we're probably going to see the full 2 minutes here. Foxy out of the penalty box. Coming up against a brace tripod in turn 3. She'll be knocked out of bounds and recycled to the middle of the backstretch. A star is off of Monsoon, and I believe handed off to the pivot already. That has been handed off indeed to Mila Lowlife.
And it was absolutely neat because if you look at the defense of both these teams, not only do they have locked tripods, but they rotate around so smoothly. And even after a couple of hits in there, Foxy able to stay inbounds on turn number 4. As even trying to get around Puma is difficult, including Miller Lowlife. Puma coming back in again, and you do not want to get hit by Puma.
All right, so that last jam there, 8 points on the board for Providence, is going to bring them to an even 100. We've got about a minute and a half left to go on the period clock. That is Public Enemy for Appalachian and Flying King for Providence. Public Enemy having a hard time this go, but we do have Flying King out in front, picking up lead jammer privilege. Public Enemy with the star off, fake of the handoff to the pivot, so it's just a stash, completes an initial. Flying King with points on the board will call it. Coming into just a minute on the period clock.
And that would be the first time in about 6 leads Providence has actually picked up that lead. Oh, 6 jams, excuse me, that they ever picked up that lead. And that's something they're going to need to hold on to as we're starting to move our way down the clock here for our potential final jam of the first half.
Autoconda number 15 wearing the star for Appalachian, taking on number 17 Goldie for Providence. quick work of the pack. Autakana takes it to the inside. That was their go-to move, really, the entire first half of the first half. Providence losing one of their blockers to a cut track there out of turn 1. Goldie looking to complete an initial, stays inbound. So she's got an initial under her belt. We're coming into the last 10 seconds on the period clock. And Autakana's going to call it off after not really able to complete that scoring pass she was looking for. All right, that rolling whistle will bring us into halftime. So 3 points on the board for Appalachian will bring them to 95. Providence, though, on top 104.
And again, it's going to be an interesting conversation in that back locker room afterwards. And what I can't wait to actually take a look at is that penalty tracking sheet. Because right now, I've been seeing it's spread across the board with both teams, but it's the heavy blocker penalties that are becoming integral for both these teams. Where it was started off with a back and forth game, then Providence started pulling ahead because Appalachian's blockers were more heavy prone going to the box. And then we saw that turn at about the halfway point where Appalachian started taking the leads, and holding on to those leads gave them advantage to bring that score a little bit up ahead. But Providence able to hang on that very last bit there. Again, saying just got that little bit of lead, but anything can happen. But it's going to come down to retaining those penalties on your blockers and hopefully no expulsions at all in this game.
All right, so we're going to check on some penalties, but we're going to head into halftime. We'll see you back in just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I'm okay. Oh, now I just have to listen to myself. That's it. I'm out of here. Jeez, Louise.
I was enjoying dancing again, but, I guess we'll get back to work, huh?
Yeah, we probably should. We probably should. So what a great first half we've had so far. We've had a total of 4 lead changes. We had Appalachian picking up lead 13 out of the 21 jams, with Providence picking up lead in 8. No star passes used by Appalachian, but Providence has used it, I think, pretty successfully in 3 jams. 1 jammer penalty for Providence, 3 on the other hand, though, for Appalachian. We were talking a little bit earlier just about that defense up front from Appalachian, and really from Providence, that tripod.
Absolutely. And when it comes to Appalachian, what I love is that it's very fluid. It's not so locked and rigid, which not only is able to control the jammer and move with them, but they can easily rotate around as well. And that's been very beneficial for them. The big thing against them right now with the penalty situation, Appalachian coming in with 20 from the first half, has been the illegal positioning. But as long as they can keep their their teammates together like that, they have a chance of keeping Providence locked down. And when we talk about the blocking of Providence, the big thing is not only that they're tripods, but they're hard hitting as well. Like we've seen Puma and Oakley come in with some really stiff hits. But for them, what their issue is with 15 penalties coming in has been forearms. And it's been the aggressiveness, and they just got to be mindful of where their arms are.
All right, so we're going to see how we start off here. We had one jam, just one jam, where I think lead changed probably 4 times just in that jam that I don't even think went a full 2 minutes. So I'm looking so forward here to the second half.
All right, and rocking up on that jammer line for Appalachian in the black and yellow. That's going to be number 711, Patty Young Thang, going up against number 013, Monsoon. Back now, pulling back Appalachian, going to be the closer to that jammer line. Keep it on that right side now. The pack advantage is going towards Appalachian, as they only got a 2-blocker team of Boons and Puma. That's going to give an opportunity to Patty Young Thang to get that lead jam. Pack now rolling into turn number 2. Again, great tripod formation, pulling up to the very front of the pack. Puma's trying to drill through that, able to get Monsoon through, but not too far behind is Patty, picking up 4 points for Appalachian. And now more of the white, blue, and red coming out to the pack. Lock things, and they're just going to call off that jam. Coming up very close, was about to pick up some more points for Providence, but Patty quickly slammed that door shut.
And I think it started off with such the pack advantage there, with the blockers in the box coming out of halftime. But right now it looks like we've got a full 5-on-5. Foxy about to take on Flying King.
these two jammers, some of the two biggest scorers for their respective teams. And one of those, like, if you give them an opening on the inside or the outside, they will take it. Great footwork. We're trying to find that open to the inside. Taking lead, it will be Foxy, but went out of bounds playing smart. Derby playing cycle back into turn one. Pack now moved up, Flying King up. Went to the infield, but it was a forearm call, Appalachian. Flying King through. We're going to have a scoreless jam here. I believe, is that the first one that we had? Yeah, that is the first scoreless jam of this.
Yes. I think we had one. Oh, all right.
All right. Thank you to our awesome producer.
Right, Bobby Narco. So much information.
All right, now coming up to that line. Looks like that's going to be 0-1 Public Genemy. Going to go skate to skate against Goldie. Public Genemy held in the back. That looks like that's going to be Miller Lowlife with Puma. And now Genemy got her way to the front. Providence trying to work their way up to the front of the pack. And in all of that mix, Goldie gets through, going to pick up lead for Providence. Now going 1 for 1 here in the second half. Pack now resetting themselves over on turn number 3. Goldie tries to swoop in, only has a 2-pack jam against her. Swings her hips around on the outside. And it's going to pick up the 4 and slam the door, Lota.
And, you know, we've seen that with Goldie so many times. If I'm going to say that there's a signature move from Goldie, it's going to be this. Turn 3.
Whee!
Wow. And, you know, that is Goldie's first lead jam that she's picked up here in the game. So out there in a heavy rotation for Providence, but first time picking up lead.
And now Autoconda is going to come up, rocking the star for Appalachian. And back up, Monsoon for Providence. Taking a little bit of a bump. And with that, it looks like Autoconda is going to take the lead star for Appalachian. Pack now moved into turn number 2. Monsoon getting recycled back in. Seeing a multiplayer block call. That is going to go on the pivot for Appalachian. Both jammers now out, but a 4 points picked up, and Autoconda is going to shut that down.
Looks like the third scoreless jam there for Appalachian. There was 1-0-0 in there, but they have been held scoreless. Oh, all right, the late 4 points. All right, so after being held scoreless for 2, Appalachian comes back, putting 4 points on the board, bringing them to 103. Just 5 points ahead of them is Providence with 108.
And now jamming for Appalachian is Patty Young Thing going against Flying King of Providence. Patty Young Thing was leaning hard onto the inside, like we're getting nice and snug against Flying King. Gave a little bit of a nudge, blasted through the inside, and will pick up the lead. Huge hit out there on turn number 2. And do believe we just waiting to see. Yep, actually, no points being picked up by Providence, but take a look at this here, Laura.
Nice and low, my goodness. That's the way to do it, taking it out, like right around the outside of the turn there, nice and low. So sneaky, right under that butt.
Yep, and Jam referee has called that. There was actually a full 4-point pickup for Appalachian. And now up in number 23, Foxy Thunderclap. And rocking the star number 7, Goldie.
So starting this jam as at a 1-point game right now.
2-2 LaRue up there with Snatch and Bent. Great defensive work, trying to force Goldie to the outside of the track. But again, penalties for the blockers going to give that open, and Goldie going to pick up our second lead. And now starting to re-engage that pack. Looks like Foxy had that star snatch. As soon as he stashed and putting back on her cap. Goldie going to take that 4, slam the door, Loda.
All right, so 4 points. So we went from it being a 1-point game as we started that there. 4 points on the board for Providence is going to separate that out by 5.
Did you guys change headsets?
Public Enemy.
How to mess with your production team, switch headsets halfway through.
Well, we just want to keep you on your toes here. Nerd Derby's such a great job. We try to help you along by getting better by switching headsets on you.
You're so adaptive.
The Public Enemy out there rocking the star for Appalachian. I believe that's Monsoon for Providence. Monsoon, just like Sisyphus, trying to push the boulders. That is the blocking team for Appalachian, but wide open for Public Enemy through the inside. Going to take that lead. Again, more blockers rotating to the box, this time on Providence's side.
Yeah, Puma Thurman being sent to the penalty box for a forearm.
Swoon worn down as already lapped through, picking up 4 points. Oh, Public Enemy with a JVJ knocking Monsoon to turn number 1 down, who's already been exhausted down by the defense of Appalachia. Now tries to hop on the inside of turn number 4, ducks underneath a clothesline from one of her own teammates, picks up another for Public Enemy on a hot roll.
And a lead change for Appalachian. Big fight. Results in a lead change.
Swoon trying to size up, and Puma trying to come in and break things up with Snatch and Bent in the mix, along with a 0-3-0 Gypsy.
We've got 2 Providence blockers being sent to the penalty box right now.
Yeah, this jam, they've been, again, heavy penalty situation for Providence, but that's given that opening to Public Enemy. Now getting recycled back by Miller Lowlife is now just going to shut that jam off. Huge turn of events.
Yeah, I think everyone in the crowd here was happy when Public Enemy took on Monsoon here in the front stretch, and it certainly elicited a response here from the announcer table.
Yeah, and now, as you said, we got that big lead change, Appalachian 118 to 114 Providence.
And, you know, we'll be starting with a pretty significant pack advantage for Appalachian with 2 of the Providence blockers in the box right now. So there was a smart move there by Public Enemy to call that jam off so that her next jammer could come in with that real advantage. But it looks like we've got Oakley out there, who's been such a force, such a source of hard hits, well-timed hits, appropriate hits. And then we've also got number 321 out there. That is Retro Rocket.
And if you actually watch back at some of the replays of this game, as I was watching over on the screen during the first half, when that pack breaks up, especially this lineup here, they do alternating hits. So they will cycle around like a tornado, where Oakley will come in, and if she misses, Retro comes in. If they miss, they'll be like Shreddy Roosevelt will come in and hit the death blow, so to speak. So it's like kind of like a 2-balanced strategy that they have. That's like if your pack is broken up, just utilize the opportunity by taking as many shots as you can and stumbling up that jammer.
All right, so it looks like we are in an official timeout.
On the 2, just to show me that it was scoreless.
At one point, I saw one of the Providence blockers coming out on the track, and I thought perhaps that someone was being released from the penalty box. But as we sit, it still looks like it is just, I believe, Retro Rocket. And, oh, no, the jammers have switched out. So that is number 26, Shreddy Roosevelt, and Oakley, the only blockers out there for Providence.
And wearing the stars is Autoconda for Appalachian and Flying King for Providence. Kind of having that lead ability there. It looks like Coco Janelle trying to break up that 2-skater pack. And Flying King, though, coming through with the lead. Pack now resetting itself there on the straightaway again. Providence only down to 2-skater. Flying King, great juke, just zips through from the inside to the outside of turn number 3. Gonna pick up 4 for Providence. And meanwhile, Pack now moving in. Flying King just tippy-toes through the inside, picks up another 4. And quite a difficult time and a turn of the table, so to speak. Let's see, so and Oakley again doing a great job forcing that out of bounds. That recycle now on Autoconda. And number 426, Honey Boom Boom. Now back into the pack, trying to break things up of Providence. Again, another recycle, this time Shreddy Roosevelt on Autoconda. Flying King pick up an additional 4. Huge, we got that lead change there, Loda. And a
Didn't
huge,
last long.
just a huge streak now with Flying King.
Yeah, definitely a big answer after that lead change. 16 points on the board so far, and they're not done.
And this becomes a very stressful situation is where your defense is trying to stay in the front of the pack. You need to create a block for Flying King, but you also want to desperately help out your jammer so badly. Autoconda recycled back. I believe that's the 4th time. This time by Sherry Roosevelt yet again. Another 4 picked up. And we have cutting of the track of so many recycles. Providence doing a great job with forcing Autoconda out so many times it finally created that one incident. And as we're winding down, Flying King knocked to the infield there, going to be recycling back in behind Appalachian. But Aloda, with all that huge opportunity by Providence, hammering down great defense.
Yeah.
Flying King taking so many points in that big spread there. Great, like that great juke from the inside to the outside. And then we have that power start.
Yeah, I just want to watch that one more time there from Flying King. It's just like completely like laterally across the. There's no like smooth, like I'm gonna start here and it's gonna be a nice like angle out. It literally was just a hop step across the track, and it looks like we had just a little bit of talk about a juke, a little. Jammer swap out there.
It was a do-si-do. Goldie was there, and as soon as they were just about to blow that whistle at 5 seconds, Oakley, bam, right in. And Oakley being utilized as a jammer, this is not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last time. Uses that powerhouse blocking strategy to become like the juggernaut from X-Men and just kind of plows on through.
It's interesting that you should bring it up an X-Men reference, rather, when it's my understanding that Oakley knows more about the Marvel Universe than I would ever.
You don't know the action figure she has. Quite the collection,
Yeah.
and has a great Instagram of all their poses. But in the meantime, it looks like we're going to have that star pass. Autoconda now going to hand that off to number 3-1, Bricks Hit House. But Oakley going to take that 4 and quickly call that one off. Great utilization of that power start. Oakley again taking that hard hit there, Loda, on the inside, be able to stay balanced.
Man, yeah. Inbounds for another solid pickup. That's 8 points, adding that to the 26 points that Flying King picked up in the last jam.
And now the jammer that was supposed to start the last jam, that's Goldie out there for Providence. Going skate against Patty Young Thang. But there's that wonderful defense there by Appalachian. And it's good when you see Tutu LaRue put back there with Coco Janelle. It's just like watching the compression of when Cole turns the diamonds, you know, from all that energy that's in there. But it's also about the wear and tear of the opposing jammer. They did that to Monsoon, now they're doing it to Goldie. But now you got a forearm call, and that looks like it's going to be Shreddy Roosevelt. Recycle back now as we still have no lead jammer. And
No lead jammer, and we're 40 seconds into the half. Or into the jam, rather.
Yep.
Goldie out in front, but not the lead jammer.
But still opportunity to get those points spread a little further. Patty Young Thing stashing that star. Having difficulty getting through that pack is what happened earlier to Autoconda, getting knocked to the infield and the outfield. Finally gets through. But 4 points already picked up. We're going to run this 2 minutes here, Loda.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as I saw PYT taking off the star in an effort to just complete that initial pass, and I was like, all right, well, we're going the full 2 minutes.
Goldie on an 8-point jam. But we're getting a back block call. You're not seeing who that was.
Tutu LaRue.
Tutu LaRue there. But Patty Young Thing firing back, though, able to pick up another of those 4 points. Goldie out with another 4 as well, 12-4 situation. Nice. What a hit that is. Susie home record, taking Patty Young Thing out on turn number 3.
Is there a lead or?
Goldie trying to use that tiptoe mentality. Goes into the infield, recycles back. Both jammers lined up hip to hip. Goldie getting a little bit bumped. Takes a nice hit from the outside, and that is Suture Self.
It's a nice hit if you're Suture Self. It's not a nice hit if you're Goldie, that's for sure. But wow, a big 15 points put on the board for Goldie in that jam. 8 points put on the board for Appalachian.
First jam with no lead.
All right, and that is, yeah, so Bobby was just telling us that that is the first jam that we've had without a lead in the entirety of the game.
And that is Flying King out for Providence, and Foxy thunderclap for Appalachian, and thundering through is Foxy. But it looks like a track cut stepped inbounds on the infield. Power jam now going to Providence. Flying King is your lead.
And when you saw what Flying King was able to do without a power jam, 24 points before the jammer went to the penalty box last time.
What can Appalachian do to cut off the wings of the Flying King?
Mm-hmm.
And again, trying to, and that was actually very successful. But one thing is, once you knock Flying King out, very quick to recycle and get back into the game. And it's very hard for them to reset. But Appalachian keeping up with it. But they're going to finally have to let him go, and that's going to be,
A little bit of a confusion there.
yeah, Flying King thought they were going to go to the penalty box, and JMRF's like, no, you got your 4 points, and please come back to the track now. Thank you. The Flying King now coming around to the pack now moved to pass that jammer line, and you know what? Even with those 4 points, Foxy back into it and still was able to steal those 2 points needed for Appalachian.
All right, so we had, let me see here, we had Foxy Thunderclap being sent to the penalty box pretty early on a cut track. Out and was able to pick up 2 points, but it was Flying King who was able to pick up lead and put 12 points on the board.
Now that's Public Enemy up on the jammer line alongside Monsoon. Genemy trying to favor through that outside. But you have a great lineup of Sis Shreddy, and it looks like Rocket. Quick to move, but great defense there. Honey Boom Boom coming in to try to break up that Providence pack. Monsoon with the lead already, back engaged in the pack, already past the skaters. Swims through uncontested, is going to pick up another 4 for Providence. Big streak push by Providence here, as we have 13 minutes remaining in our first half here. Already now finally through. That is Public Enemy. But Monsoon taking quite a hit there, but able to stay up on tippy toes. Pivot for Appalachian going down there, Loda.
It was a fantastic hit there right here in front of us in turn 3.
It was just almost like a loss of balance, really. But it did the trick by forcing Monsoon out of bounds there on turn number 3, forcing that call off.
Yeah, Bricks hit house. You know, if that was a loss of balance, whatever it takes, push Monsoon out.
And Autoconda back out there with the start going against Goldie. Goldie going to pick up another lead for Providence.
3 in a row, 5
Autoconda trying to favor outside inside. Puma played the strong game. But yeah, that's a track cut. Puma did push Autoconda out in the straightaway. Power jam yet again to Providence. This time in favor of Goldie, who does have that lead. And now playing a very slow-paced game. Providence now coming from the outside of the pack and creates an opening through the inside for Goldie. Pick up an additional 4. And on Appalachians, it looks like Bricks, rejoining the pack now. Now we got a 4-blocker wall here for Goldie to get through. Puma trying to come through on the outside and try to divide and conquer. And we got direction of gameplay being called out. I believe that is on Boone's Harm. And already now working that initial pass, Autoconda. So quickly calling that one off is going to be Goldie with the damage done.
This looks like we have a team time out there by Appalachian, and probably not a bad idea. Let's take a look, like kind of a snapshot here. We had Providence coming in with the lead and holding the lead right up until it looks like Jam 7, and then Appalachian had a big 11-point jam for them. They took the lead from Providence, but then we had that big. Providence answered with that big 26-point jam from Flying King right after that to recapture the lead and hold on to it. But when we look at the last 6 jams, it's Providence who's taken lead jammer privilege right up from the start. We had 1 jam where there was no lead jammer, and in the middle of all that, Appalachian has picked up 3 jammer penalties. And so really we can just take that as a big chunk of what this second half looks like.
And still, even in 11 minutes, Appalachian has the opportunity to come back as long as Providence doesn't trip up over their skates, so to speak, and create penalty opportunities, especially any kind of power jam opportunities. Then they'll be able to maintain this game. And then with that, they're going to bring Flying King out there, rocking that star for Providence, and Patty Young Thang for Appalachian. And a quick change out of pivots for Appalachian. Thank you again for joining us here on twitch.tv, and thank you, Nerd Derby, for hosting this on the live stream. Got great action here, day 1 of Siege of Central New York. Pack getting split up, and Patty Young Thing almost gets out, and yep, it looks like Oakley went out of bounds as well. No pass, no penalty, but Flying King is going to take that lead. Jam for Providence. Pack moving steadily fast, almost a full rotation now through the flat track. Patty Young Thing right on the tail of Flying King. Providence's Pack lined up to the back there. Flying King, I'm sorry, yeah, ooh, Flying King tried to dodge through. Patty Young Thing able to lap by. Oakley thought, but yeah, it looks like we got a track cut call on Patty Young Thing. Went out of bounds went out of bounds because of Oakley giving that little bit of push on the outside. So now we have that power jam to Flying King. Second one to Flying King. We saw what happened the first time here, Alota.
Yeah, 26 points to really turn the tide here in the second half.
Flying King taking their time, sizing up that pack. Don't have to expel too much energy. It's no longer a chase of trying to catch up points, but just maintaining that lead and not causing any mistakes. And Flying King said, let's play the smart thing. Looking over Coach Hot Sauce says, I already got 4 points. I'm just going to stop it right here. We're going to have a power start. We're going to have a fresh new pack coming in.
All right, so it looks like we're taking a look at that great hit there by Oakley in turn 2 that pulled PYT into the cut track that sent her to the penalty box.
And now we're going to reset. Actually, it looks like both jammers have now returned to the track here.
And the penalty box is empty.
Yep, and that is going to be Foxy Thunderclap rocking it for Appalachian. Monsoon for Providence. Foxy Thunderclap, very quick. Again, favoring that inside. Always a strength for her whenever she gets those leads. Now trying to bring that energy back for Appalachian. Pack now moving into turn number 3. Finally hitting the brakes. Foxy coming around through the inside. Tries to play Red Rover there between Smashley Olsen and Milla. Able to pick up 3 points. Again, great speed of Monsoon trying to stay on top of Foxy, but unable to pick up points for Providence.
Yeah, that was the first time that Appalachian has picked up lead since Jam 7. And again, Jam 7 was when they took the lead from Providence. Providence has held on to it ever since. But, those 3 points there, not only did she come up with lead for Appalachian, but also just the fact that there was really no cohesion there with the pack. It was pretty spread out, moving a lot.
And Suit Yourself out there jamming for the first time for Appalachian. A little bit of a change up of strategy for them. And meanwhile, you got Goldie out there for Providence. But another blocker to the box for Appalachian. Destruction of the pack. And 2 blockers now actually going. Goldie taking the lead. And looks like just a pivot and a blocker out there for Appalachian. And it looks like it was the illegal contact by Suit Yourself. Power jam again going to Providence. Goldie already has that lead and already picking up 4 points on her first pass. Only a 2 blocker wall for Appalachian. And that is Gypsy out there with Bricks Hit House. Again, a little bit of a divide and conquer, them reforming right back. Bricks doing a great job trying to bridge these two packs together. Trying to wear down that clock. All the blockers now back out of the box, and soon to be joining is going to be Stooch Yourself. Another 4 points picked up by Goldie. A little bit of a quick hop around Bricks. And Appalachian coming in. There's that deep squeeze that their tripod does. Isn't just blocking, it's about trapping and getting the air out of that opposing jammer.
Yep.
And it makes it a little bit difficult to breathe and recycle in and get more of the oxygen to the blood. And it looks like we have there was a forearm call there, I believe, on Providence.
All right, so, I don't want to keep coming back to that Jam 7, Jam 8 period here of the second half, but I'm going to do it again because it's really telling. Appalachian took the lead in Jam 7, and then from Jam 8, it's just been chaos, it almost seems, for them. They've picked up lead jam only once, and they have given up 5 power jams to Providence, who, when we saw a 26-point jam from Flying King, didn't need a power jam to do significant damage.
I do have Nerd Derby. Let us, Chad, you're letting me know that Dr. Cack, he has a pulmonary specialist. Yes, I do. I'll probably give everyone a heart attack with this one. But Patty Young Thing out there. Oakley with the second jam out there for Providence. Patty Young Thing is taking that lead and able to pick up, I believe that's 3 points, stopping Oakley from picking up anything as they're recycling back to that pack. Woo!
Yeah, Appalachian was able to hold Providence scoreless pretty significantly in about the first third of this half here, like mixing my fractions. But they've kept them scoreless 2 of the last 3.
See, I'm not a doctor, but I might play one on TV. That is the Twitch TV hosted by Nerd Derby. Subscribe to Nerd Derby for awesome action all year long. Meanwhile, Monsoon rocking the star for Providence. Bricks Hit House now playing that star for Appalachian, and it pays off as Appalachian's got that lead for Bricks.
Don't call it a comeback.
Bricks. Oh, a little hop of the the apex there, but did trip up, and that caused Providence to come and catch up, knock her back to the outside. What a hit, and yeah, we're getting a timeout call. Well, let's just watch this. Like, trips up, runs into one of her own blockers, and that's a quick pull up there, and that is
Retro Rocket.
Yeah.
Just had laser focus
like a
on
cannon.
Bricks Hit House, and just waiting for laser out flat there in the backstretch.
Wow.
Blah. I can't imagine taking 1 hit, let alone 2 hits like that simultaneously.
Oh,
Thanks again for that replay. It's great to have Nerd Derby here at this WFTDA recognized tournament. We've got a couple other WFTDA recognized tournaments coming up soon. We've got Skate to Thrill. It's also this weekend, hosted by, is it St. Chuck's Derby Chicks? That's how I'm going to pronounce it. We've also got West Track Story 7 happening next weekend in France. And then Coastal Chaos, where if you're a fan of Nerd Derby, you'll be able to see their quality work once again, Coastal Chaos in Rockport, Maine.
So now, Loda, real quick before we start this jam here, about 4 minutes, 48 seconds remain. With that time of Appalachian, what do you think was delivered by their coach? What's the strategy that Sinbad brought?
First jam for 0-1.
That's a really good question, because I think I was really focusing on the quality work of Nerd Derby and the WFTDA recognized tournament. So sorry about that. I'm going to let you carry that.
It's okay.
Right back at you.
I always appreciate your brain. When I get a chance to pick it, I will. But picking away at that pack, Flying King going skate to skate against Public Enemy. Flying King going to pick that. Both pivots now going to the box. But actually, it looks like there was a confusion. It was actually supposed to be pivot for Providence to go to the box. So Appalachians gets called back. Public Enemy now working the initial pass. 4 points picked up by Flying King. Now 2:08, 146. Pug Jeremy, like, it's very rare to see Puma get a knockdown to the knee, but Pug Jeremy does the deed and it picks up 4 for it. Back now, pulled together, Flying King able to hop through, gets another 4 points, so that's 8-4 for Providence with Flying King. My goodness.
All right, so it looks like Providence lost their pivot to the penalty box there right at the end with a back block. And, you know, you always kind of like think about when you lose that pivot to the penalty box, what does that mean in regards to star passes? But we've seen so few star passes in this bout in particular. Let's see, it looks like, have we had any in this?
They had 0 in the first half. They had 3 in the first half.
Got it. Yeah, so 3 really overall. No pass, no penalty for Bricks Hit House. Was looking for the lead.
Yeah. Looking for it, but, you know, again, no pass, no penalty. Now getting recycled back behind Schrader Roosevelt as Goldie now passes through, taking that lead. Has already lapped around Bricks, but now locked in her own brick house. That's the brick house of Appalachian Enforcer out of bounds on turn 1. And may not be the lead, but Bricks is able to pick up 4 points for Appalachian. And back block call. That one going to go on Oakley. And also Miller getting reports of box. That's the 3rd time their pivot's going back. And now we're getting a track cut on Bricks. Power jam to Goldie, who is, again, lead with about a minute of this jam clock remaining.
Goldie's just got 2 blockers out there on the track with her.
And now going to
6th jammer
work
penalty this
her lap around turn number 2 up in front of the pack. Appalachian's 4 wall, the Diamond of Doom. Schrader Roosevelt trying to chop away into it. Oh, a hard hit. That was like in the Goldie. Takes a bump to the back. Got her bell rung, but right back up to it. Hops on tiptoes. And now engaged with Nerd Fighter. It's going to hold off another. Yep, the 4 from the previous jam. Before the penalty. Picked up by Bricks. Another 4 by Goldie.
It's some great teamwork there, defense-wise, from Appalachian. Tutu LaRue, number 22. And let's see, I just had it. My goodness, where did they go? Oh, my goodness. Honey Boom Boom. Especially here in turn 1 with Goldie, where Goldie just looked to take it to the outside, thinking that she had it made in the shade. And there was Tutu LaRue just ready to stop her, knock her out of bounds, and recycle her.
Great work here. We're down to 1:23. And a quick shout out to our awesome referees that have been doing a great job during this game here. That includes technical difficulty, Jean-Philippe Amon, Maria Von Slepp, Oliver Pist, Just Mo, Organic Panic, and Tim the Ref.
All right, and it looks like for the NSO crew there, Bert Hurt is the head NSO for this round. We've got Neutron Scar, Rutro, Tornado Alley, Mama Menace, Rule Booker, Veronica Scars, Derriere, Stella by Starlight, and Mistress Grimm. And of course, a big shout out to our producer for this game, Bobby Narco. So much information and such neat penmanship that I can just look over onto his stat tracking sheet and get a nice picture. So nice.
It's kind of like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you had Vision that came from Jarvis. It's like Bobby Narco came from the mothership, like a human version of the mothership. Right. And another timeout, this time called by Providence. And another one? Or are we playing thing a little bit back and forth here? Well, first we had a timeout by Appalachian, then a timeout by Providence, and I think another one. Looks like their coach is approaching the officials here.
Got it. All right, yeah. Yep. So Appalachian has exhausted all of their team timeouts at this point with just an official review to remain. An official timeout now, but minute 23 on the period clock.
And to all those joining us on the chat, thank you very much. I also saw Guns. I wish you were here as well. I've had a little bit slightly warmer Rhode Island today, but still beautiful here in Rome, New York. That's some of the best chocolate milk and tomato pie because it's not bakery pizza.
Oh, wait, did I miss the tomato pie in the?
No, I looked in the back. I couldn't find any.
Oh, okay, maybe it's coming still. You just like
And-
had me worried there for a second.
That's why I brought my gym bag, just so I can like load it all up before I go.
Yeah, we were talking this morning at the announcers meeting that, so often we as announcers talk about like, staying away from dairy before we announce, like not the day of, but, or maybe not the day before, but here at the Siege, it is dairy all the time.
And then I show up with some Autocrat coffee syrup so you guys can experience coffee milk.
Going to do that after this bout. So it looks like that official timeout was to address the fact that number 31 for Appalachian, Bricks Hit House, has fouled out.
And with that, that is a power start. Monsoon, I believe. Yep, Monsoon out there. It's going to pick up that lead. Patty Young Thang is sitting in for Bricks, who's in the penalty box. So now Power Jam lead 220 to 158. Great way to stay inbounds, and almost coming in for a kill shot was Public Enemy.
Yep.
But able to swiftly sneak by. Now Patty Young Thing back out into the pack, into the straightaway. Both these teams, all the players out. Patty Young Thing able to start working that initial pass. And it's almost become very scrappy, this pack being broken up, forcing Monsoon to the outside, quickly being smart, shutting that off and slamming that door before Patty Young Thing can pick up any additional points.
Yeah, and so with that call-off, we've got coming into 15 seconds left to go on the penalty clock, or the period clock, rather. Providence sitting with all three of their team timeouts. Clock winding down. Providence with the lead, obviously 228, Appalachian 158. Timeout Providence. The first of the game with just seconds to go here.
Just going through all the timeouts here. Interesting to see how this one plays out here, but thank you all once again, and stick with us here on Nerd Derby, because coming up here, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we got Antwerp versus Brew City.
It's gonna be great.
And then right up after that, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Burning River versus Jersey Shore. And then closing out day one at 7 o'clock, Central New York versus Green Mountain.
CNY, gracious hosts as ever. Always a lot of fun to watch them on the track on their weekend, with so many skaters kind of pulling that double duty of pulling a volunteer shift and then coming out and putting skates on and doing a great job on the track.
But all the unicorns, all the unicorns. I kind of rated their merch table again.
I believe that.
All right, looks like we're going to come into our final jam. 1 second left on the clock. Foxy Thunderclap number 23 for Appalachian Rockin' Star. You're going to be going skate to skate, and I believe that is against 042 Flying King of Providence. Who is going to be the final lead jam? And it looks like Foxy Thunderclap through with a little twirl.
Flourish.
Wonderful. Pack has yet to get past that pivot line. And direction of gameplay that is going to go onto the pivot for Appalachian. But damage done. Flying King now trying to catch up with that pack into turn number 2. Foxy, though, getting caught with a back block. Oh, no. So now Power Jam going to Providence. Yeah.
Yeah, so not only is
Wonderful.
Flying King out there skating unopposed, but Appalachian is down a blocker as well.
And here it comes, the point spread that Providence likes to try to gather. I was just taking a note on the footwork there from Flying King. It was almost like skateboarder style, keeping the left foot down and using that right one to just push along as you stay along, as they stay along the inside line. Now coming around from the outside line. Just the sweet, sweet moves of Flying King. Foxy now returning back to that track, coming in at turn 3. Trying to whip around Susie Homewrecker and Oakley. Ooh, able to dive through the air and dodge around. But we're getting an illegal contact. That is going to go on Retro Rocket. Foxy able to still pick up 4 points for Appalachian, but we're getting a back block. That one now going on Susie Homewrecker. Flying King with an additional 4. Tried to take off through the air. Yep, and that was another illegal contact. That's by Oakley. Of a bump as Foxy was in the air, going to pick up an additional 4. Flying King with a back block. Flying King with a back block. Reports to the box. Power jam now to Appalachian, but the jam clock has ended.
First jammer penalty of the half.
Woo!
Wow, yeah, a first jammer penalty of the half for Providence, and a 20-point jam from Flying King. And, it's one of those things where Providence came in and they called that team timeout, like with just, that last 2 seconds on the period clock, figuring like we're gonna pick up some additional points. Little did they know that they would force Appalachian into a penalty. Turns into a power jam where they're able to put 20 points. Oh, looks like some of those points are coming back.
Yeah.
So 16 points for Providence.
I know that they're both
Appalachian able to put up 8 though.
Yeah, I was gonna say as soon as we heard the jam whistle with the officials blew whistle again, having their own official timeout here, make sure everything's correct. But I just saw the twirl in the air there, Alona.
166 to 244.
All right, so final score there. And, back and forth, 4 lead changes in the first half that we saw these two teams kind of like duke it out. And Providence held on to that lead going into the second half. We had that blip on the radar where Appalachian was able to take away lead from Providence, but then big 26-point jam from Flying King took it away right onto victory. Providence Roller Derby, 244, Appalachian 166.
And now tomorrow, Appalachian's going to take on Antwerp at 9 a.m. Providence versus Brew City at 11 a.m. So now both these teams have some time to rest and recoup for their games for tomorrow.
Excellent. Oh, all right. I thought you were going to say something. It's like, oh, sorry. You. Oh, all right. Chad had the mic, and I was like, oh, he speaks.
God
the man behind the console.
God has spoken. We shut up.
Well, thank you so much. As always, I am a load of sarcasm.
And I'm the cat.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in today. I really appreciate that. So we are going to we're going to wrap this stream up. We'll be back shortly. I'm not sure how long. It's probably going to be about 20 minutes or so. We'll be back. So tune in after that. We'll stop the stream right now. Thanks again.